West Ham United have had some wonderful players over the years, the likes of Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, Trevor Brooking, but none of them would ever reach the heights in the league as the boys of '86. In a season when there was a ban on live football on television, something was stirring in the East End of London. The likes of Alan Devonshire, Mark Ward and Ray Stewart were starring as John Lyle's Hammers finished third in the top division. It could so easily have been a title as well as they produced their best ever challenge in the league. We have three of that team with us, affectionately known as the Boys of '86, to share the time of their lives, starting with a man who cost the club over £500,000 in 1979. At that time, a world record for a goalkeeper. Phil Parkes was an FA Cup winner with West Ham in 1980 when they were a second division team. He was an ever-present in this particular campaign and went on to play for 11 seasons for the club. He was voted by a West Ham members' poll as their best keeper of all time. My next guest was also an ever-present this season, a signing from Fulham just a couple of years previously. Tony Gale was a central defender who played nearly 300 appearances in his 10 seasons at Upton Park. And on leaving East London, he won a Premiership title with Blackburn Rovers. And finally, their leading goal scorer, one of the most colourful characters of this era. His first senior football club was St Mirren. And Frank McAvennie's great form in Scotland attracted attention from south of the border. The West Ham manager John Lyle signed him in 1985 and he formed a formidable partnership with a young English striker, Tony Cottee. Phil Parkes, I think you finished 16th the season before. So was there any hint of what was to come in this campaign?
None whatsoever, because we'd had a dreadful pre-season as well, and so we thought that we were going to carry on the start of the season where basically we'd left off the season before, and we had a bad start to the season too, losing away at Birmingham and then the first home game I think against Luton. So we had no idea. We thought we were just in for the same sort of relegation battle. Just exactly the same as it was the season before.
Can you remember what the feeling was like at the start of the season, Tony? Because, you know, I mean, it was a pretty depressing time for football, wasn't it, in the sense of the Heysel had happened, the UEFA ban, record low attendances, no TV covering live games.
Well, we knew there was a ban on European football, so it was not worth going for European football, Jeff, the season before. No, to be honest, it was a struggle. It was a struggle, but the difference was, for the season coming up, we made three signings, and I'll always go back to it. We made, obviously, the cab driver from Scotland, Frank McAvennie, and we had Mark Ward, who was an outside right, or right winger, as you want to call it, and on the left, a return from injury from the great Alan Devonshire. So it was a very different side. OK, only three faces, but three really key players in a setup that really linked it all together. That was the difference.
So what was the mood amongst the squad when they heard Frank McAvennie was coming? Were they really excited, Phil?
We said, who the fucking hell's it? Because we'd never heard of him, to be honest. And when we first met him, the thing was, we hadn't got a clue what he was saying. No one could understand him. He had this broad Glaswegian accent, and I mean, seriously, we needed a translator. You know, they have problems with the foreign managers now, but I mean, Frank needed a translator himself. It quickly, you know, we warmed to him very, very quickly, because he was a great guy, a great character. We found that out very quickly, that, you know, he'd like to enjoy himself on and off the field, and so, you know, a star, if you like, was born at West Ham, and he became part of us very, very quickly.
Took a while for a national star to be born, in a way, though, didn't it? Because of the lack of television coverage, you know, you were almost a mythical sort of figure to most football fans in England.
In that respect, it was great for me, because after the game on a Saturday, I could go out and do what I wanted, and nobody knew what I looked like. So in that respect, it was quite good. But in a footballing sense, it would have been great for everyone to see the goals that had been scoring, and everyone else over the world. I think Denmark and Sweden were showing it on the football, but we did get it here.
But you were unrecognisable from the player that come from Scotland, weren't you? Because when we signed him...
Don't start all this, here we go.
When we signed him straight away, Jeff,
yeah.
I mean, we always joke about it, but as soon as we signed Frank McAvennie, like Phil said, who the bleeding hell's this? So we've all gone looking in the books, all the Scottish annuals, you know, the topical times and all that, as it was of the day. And there we saw this ginger-haired striker.
I'll tell you
Ginger-haired striker. No, I'll tell it. Ginger-haired striker from Scotland. Well, he turns up, he's blonde hair, he's got cap teeth, he's got the lot, he's got carried away already. When we got in the showers, we knew then that he really was ginger hair.
I think it was just ITV were doing a profile on me, and all the boys were watching this, and it was showing you all the goals from St Mirren, and they were going, I remember Dev standing beside me going, well, where are you? And I'm saying, that's me. So that was the start of it.
Was London one of the appealing factors in coming to West Ham then?
No, I actually came down to sign for Luton Town. I actually went to sign. The contract was there for me to sign, but fortunate for me, it wasn't Eric Morecambe, it was the chairman anymore, it was some fat guy, and he gave me a slap and says, welcome to Luton, and I thought, who are you? So it was that close for me to sign for Luton. And then the manager says West Ham. The traditions, Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst, as you say, Martin Peters, the three boys that won the cup for England. So that was enough for me.
Yeah, but the real reason, Frank, to be honest, there's not a string fellas in Luton, is there? So
well, actually, when I came down for the Live Aid concert. I came down here with my mates and went to Live Aid concert, and actually, Stringfellas gave me a knockback that night. I never got in. I went to Stringfellas and they said, no, you can't get in. I've never let them forget it since, but never mind. It was good. That was good fun.
You mentioned some of the great names, Phil, that West Ham have been associated with. But I think it's fair to say, that the squad that went so close to winning the title in '86, it wasn't littered with internationals, was it?
No, not at all. No, I mean, you had a lot of players like Stevie Walford and George Parrish who shared the left back position, and you had Neil Orr in midfield, and he shared with Jeff Pike. So there wasn't that many. And I think one of the key players in that side was Alan Dickens.
I thought he was the best player that season.
Fantastic player, but very underrated as well. And so we had a lot. I mean, Dev coming back, I think, was a great boost to us because we'd missed him. And
I didn't play. I mean, the boys were telling me what it was like before he got injured. He was out for 2 years when he came back in.
Yeah,
I'd love to have played. For me, it was one of the best players I've ever played.
What was special about him?
I just used to. If Dev could score goals, it would have been world class. I mean, honestly, he used to beat three players, round the goalkeeper, and put it by the post. He just got a rush of blood, didn't he, when he ran the goalkeeper?
But he was one of those players you could give him the ball, Jeff, and even with his bad knee, he couldn't get a full extension on the knee when he came back. Obviously operations are a lot better now; they come back a lot better, but. He's our great friend, but he was, in my opinion, he was world class.
Yeah,
he was world class. You could give him a ball in any situation. He'd run 50, 60 yards with the ball. Defenders would back off, and they were petrified of him. And he could go either way. He could kick with his right, he could kick with his left. He wasn't good from long range, as Frank said, but the assists in that season and many other seasons, I put him very close to more Hurst Peters, I tell you, in West Ham's history. Very close.
When my first game up front for the boys was in the Tuesday night against QPR, and I'll never forget him coming to me and saying, look, I'll have three players on me. And I thought, you big-headed twat. And he says, I'm just going to give you the ball, just give me it back and I'll beat the three of them. And I thought, and it was so easy. I mean, he used to get doubled up and then someone behind them, and he just used to flick the ball into me. I used to just lay it off and Dev would come and run and take it away.
But he would
didn't have to do all that.
Frank, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he was great.
Players used to double up, or even it'd be like the full-back marking him and the wide midfield player coming back, and the central midfield player would come over as well because they were petrified. And when he had it in a tight situation, sometimes he would just bang it off one touch. Yeah. And then if you were coming out of the back, or Frank was up front, Tony or whoever, you had more time on the ball because of them being petrified of him. That's why he was, in my opinion, he was world class. Yeah.
I mean, another name there that brought back memories to me was Ray Stewart. Ferocious striker of the ball. Why was he called Tonka?
Well, basically because of that, I think his hard shot, wasn't it? He just basically.
But apparently it was Dave Swindlurst the season before, wasn't it, Phil? And he just said it was an acidic kind of wit, so he called me like Reggie Cray. I'm just glad it weren't Ronnie because he didn't want to think I was like.
Yeah. The season didn't start ideally, did it? I mean, you're playing up front with Tony Cotty for a start. Yeah. I noticed that.
I played. John actually bought me to play in midfield.
Oh, right, okay.
He built me down as a midfield player. I played 4 years, 3.5 years in midfield at St Mirren, and then I was doing all right, but I wasn't getting headlines that the strikers get, and so I wanted to play up front for the last year. But John bought me to play in the hole. Something I've been doing all my life, as they say. but it's one of these situations, and I thought it had been great. And people say Paul got injured, Saz got injured on the first game.
Yes, Paul Goddard, yeah.
Who knows? We might have went on to win it because Paul was such a great player that it might have worked. It might have worked me playing in, sitting deeper. I don't know, but it was great when.
But it was. You say at the beginning of the season, Jeff. Like, did we know it was coming? We were just speaking in there before. We had a pre-season. We had a game against Leyton Orient, didn't we? At Brisbane Road. We used to play it every year, didn't we? Away from home, and it was a good crowd for Leyton Orient. And we lost 3-1, and it could have been 10-1. And like, we thought, here we go again, not another season. Defence for once had a bad game. Anyway, we come in after the game, and we know we're going to get a bit of a bollocking off of John. So we come in the dressing room, and we're all sitting in the dressing room like this, like that, blah, blah, blah. John comes in, and he says, right, all sit down. So he gets us all sitting down. And just as he's about to speak, this thug comes in from the ICF. He must have been about 6'4". He's got tattoos all up his arm. He swiped John out of the way and proceeded to take the team talk. He said, you're effing useless, you let the effing club down, you can't play, why did you buy him? He's pointing at him, what you done with him, like that. And we're all sitting there like that, we're all petrified, weren't we?
I thought it was the director.
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was.
And John shit himself as well, because John in the end sort of placated him and sort of said, look, calm down, pal, like got him out of the dressing room like that. And John said, he's right, isn't he, lad?
But the season itself, you know, to say it didn't start well, Frank's an understatement, isn't it? Because I think you lost 2 of your first 3. You lost against Birmingham, who were going to go on to be relegated, and against Luton, who you might have been playing for.
Yeah.
You know, do you think I've made the wrong decision at that stage?
No, everything was coming well. I can't remember what game. Was it Luton? After the Luton game, we had a meeting, the boys.
Yeah, we
had a meeting after because we knew we'd the makings of a great team. I mean, I knew coming down we were playing against great players, but the boys were not bad. These boys could play a bit. And after Luton, we get beat.
Yeah, I mean, the essence of the meeting was that Frank was running his cobblers off, and Tony was a lazy little git, wasn't he? You know, Tony Cotty, you know, great friend of ours as well. But what a great striker and a great taker of goals. But he wasn't pulling his weight defensively.
And I don't think as well that he didn't score in the first half dozen games.
No, he didn't, Joe. And that, you know,
did.
don't get me wrong. Tony was probably one of our best all-time strikers, along with Frank, and probably the best partnership. But he wasn't doing it defensively. So that's where we had a good set of lads, a good senior set of lads. We had the meeting, we had it without John as well.
Without the management,
We had it without John. We knew basically what the team was, and Tony was to pull away on the left-hand side when we was defending, so that when we nicked the ball as well, we could attack down that way, because Dev used to lay a bit deeper, and Mark Ward used to push on a little bit further down that right-hand side, and it worked an absolute treat. Tony got more space because of it. We had to convince him he was doing it for the best of the side, that he was attacking to get more goals. He's a natural goal scorer, but it worked a treat, and we've done it ourselves at that little bit.
I mean, I know you guys get together socially now, but at the time, what were you like as a unit? Did you spend a lot of time together?
Well, we used to have the
Talking about this one.
Talking to our social secretary.
We used to. I'll tell you the story about. We always used to love to go to Guernsey at the end of the season too. You know, so and we used to save up. So these lot used to play cards. They'd have a win at cards or whatever. They'd take a few quid off. Mostly off Frank. He's the worst card player in the world. Yeah. And so he'd come and he'd have like I don't know, 50 quid or 100 quid, and he'd go, well, I don't want the missus to find out about that. So he said, here you go, put that in the Guernsey fund. And I set up a little bank account where players used to give me money each week, and we set it up. And I think, I mean, at the time, it's peanuts now. But at the time, I think I went into training at the end of the season. The TC put all his money away. I was got about 9.5, 10 grand in my briefcase, you know, going in to pay everybody out. And it was basically a great social life we had, didn't we? We had the few dues at the Apollo.
We couldn't obviously, like, he started getting a reputation, soppy cods over there, didn't we? So it landed us all in trouble with the wives, you know. So if we were going out, we couldn't say we were going out with him.
I had to make sure I wasn't there.
Because you could have put some money into this fund, couldn't you, from your hairspray contract?
Oh yeah. You only just found out about this, haven't you? But that was from. I think it was in the mid-70s, when I was at QPR, and I really used to get the piss taken out after the hairspray advert came on the telly. It was Cossack. It was men's hairspray. Let's be sure about this. Nothing to do with Harmony or anything. But so they came and I did the advert, and it was an offer, and I used to get the P taken at me all the place. And the one thing I do remember was going up to Man United. We were playing up there, and the whole of the Stretford end. in unison as you come out, you go on, up to there. I think we changed around at half time, gone up to there, and they're all saying, "You can stick your fucking Cossack up your arse." And it was, and I think, well, at least they've seen it. You know, I think,
A good brand awareness, I think they say.
But it was just something, and like Tony will probably tell you the story about that. Pete taking at me all the time, and then he said to him, he says, "Well, and he was one of the biggest instigators of this, with Reggie. He'd take the pee out of me, and then one day he said, 'Well, how much did you get for that thing anyway?' And I said, 'Well, if I tell you that the advert lasted 30 seconds, it took a day and a half to film it, and I earned probably 2/3 of a year's wages.' And he went, 'Oh, okay.' And sort of like walked away and went, he shut him up straight away, and it was an amazing...
It's great hairspray, Jeff, because his hair hasn't moved since.
We will talk about the football in a moment, but when did you feel, Frank, then? When did you first begin to feel, the trappings of celebrity, if you like, in London?
When I went on Wogan.
Yeah.
I went on Wogan a Friday night. John says I could go on, and I went on to do the Wogan show, and there was, I don't know, there were millions, but 19 million people watching it or something, and nobody knew what I looked like. So I went on the Wogan show on the Friday night, played on the Saturday. I was out on the Saturday night, Stringfellas, and they come in and they says, the press are outside waiting you. And I says, what are they waiting me for? And the girl says something about Wogan last night, and then just all of a sudden everyone knew what I looked like, out with the sports media. And they were just hounding me, and it was quite. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all that. I mean, they got me in.
Got us in a few clubs.
Yeah, of course you do. You get a table and all that at decent restaurants. It was all right. I enjoyed all that kind of things.
Yeah.
But it was good, But you had to do it in the park, Jeff. And it was, people have a laugh and all that. But these boys wouldn't have let me do anything if I didn't produce on the park. So. Yeah, it was one of them.
But I mean, it wasn't going that well on the park, was it? I mean, I noticed that, mid-September, Tony, I think you're 17th in the table. Manchester United have won their first 10 games on the bounce. What were you thinking of at that stage? Were you thinking this is going to be a relegation struggle?
No, we thought it was coming together, actually. Yeah. We thought it was coming together, and then I think we embarked on what still stands as a record run for the club. I think there's a few records set in the season, the least 18. Amount of goals conceded in a season. And also
18 games or something.
Yeah, we went on some crazy run where we but we didn't just draw. We won a lot of games, and of course 3 points for a win. Bosh! It took us flying up the league, and just confidence rose, and we were a good footballing side. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when I went to Blackburn, I always say to the boys, like they won the league when I was in the squad at Blackburn there, but I think we had a better team then than the team that Blackburn had that won the league. That's how much I enjoyed my football at West Ham at the time. Not only was we winning, but we was winning.
I think if it
with a bit of John Lyle,
if it clicked a little bit earlier, we'd have won the league pretty easily. And apart from that, I think naivety came in it. We went for the cups. We went for all the cups, and we had about 4 replays against Ipswich.
Yeah,
against Man United,
and then we had another one against Sheffield Wednesday, didn't we? Then we had a little bit of a cold spell, didn't we? We had a few games called off.
Yeah, it was a very, very cold winter that time, and a lot of games called off.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't play in the league for something like about 6 weeks or something. Silly.
I think, like Phil said, we lost. Did you say we lost 10 games that year?
We lost 10 games, yeah.
But we won a hell of a lot of games. I'm not sure what the record was, Jeff, but we won a lot of games, and we ended up with 84 points. And I don't know what winning totals are now, but 84 points on the table, and we lost 10 games.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I think previously, the previous years, it would have won it the year before, and possibly the year before that, the 84 points. So it was just one of those things where the standard, like with Liverpool and Everton going well as well.
Two excellent sides.
Was very, very good.
I mean, you talk about going for the cups as well. I think what people maybe don't realise now is the number of games that you guys played. It wouldn't be sort of 30 a season. I mean, you played all 42, didn't you, that season, all 42 league games?
Yes.
And so did you, and I know Mark Ward did. Frank, you had this playboy reputation. You played 41 league games that season.
I only missed one, Jeff, because I was in Australia with the Scotland team.
Yeah.
I was in Australia, and Georgie Paris went up front that week with Tony.
Yeah, we played him in the hole.
Yeah,
we had to make a bigger hole for George, but we played him in the hole.
But it was I was in Australia with the Scotland team, and it came back that the West Ham had won, Georgie Paris had scored. So I arrived back on a Saturday morning, and I arrived back at 10:30. By the time I get through, it was 11:30 or something. And I phoned John, and I says, "Where are you?" And he says, "We're at the hotel. Let's just go home, take a day off." There was not one of the squad for the Scotland team played, and I said, "No, I want to play." and he couldn't believe it. He says, "Come to the hotel." So I went to the hotel and wherever it is, and I said, "I want to play." I mean, it wasn't. I never had a problem staying up, Jeff, so that wasn't my problem.
So you played?
Yeah, I played.
yeah.
Played in the
Came
afternoon.
straight back from Australia.
Scored the goal. We won 1-0 QPR.
Yeah.
To be fair, you were crap.
I know, but it was
got a very lucky goal. But
What did you
it's
score?
still 1-0, yeah.
What did
Yeah,
you
but
score?
we did
Thank
our
you.
stuff as well. We were like
It
the Alamo.
was. It was an
And
absolute.
It was on the plastic pitch.
I was on
and
that
people
plastic,
off the
yeah.
slope.
On the plastic.
It was like the Alamo, wasn't it? And then it
Parts
Frank
went down in stages, didn't he? Some of the
got
dives,
battered.
was like, his hands went down first. He was like, I'm not getting down on that. But it was good.
When did you first realise, Tony, that this guy who you'd never really heard of from Scotland was a bit special?
Well, I think it was, when he first came, obviously it takes people, when you consider now, when Frank was a foreigner, Scotland was foreigners then, wasn't it? Like, not like as it is now. But when he came, the thing that endeared him to all of us was that, OK, he was a good player, very good player, and scored goals and done this and done that, but he worked his nuts off. He absolutely ran his cobblers off. He was shocking trainer, by the way. Yeah. I used to join him. It was me and him at the back of every training session. But he didn't like the running in that, but he would run his nuts off every Saturday, running in chat. It was an absolute nightmare for central defenders to mark. He was your nightmare. And we had the perfect complement with Tony.
Yeah.
We got more work rate out of Tony in the end, but Tony was a great finisher. And between them, it was a real partnership, Jeff. I mean, Frank's not tall. He was decent in the air. Tony's only small, but everything was to feet or in down the sides of central defenders, and we liked to play deep because we didn't have. Me and Alvin weren't the quickest, but we were confident of playing the ball out the back. That's why we played deep, and we had a great system to play with, and we had. Probably one of the world's best goalies behind us there, who's had a bit of an alcoholic problem at the time. But
What a slur. Was that true?
Well, we used to when I first came from QPR, at QPR used to have a little shot of whiskey before we went out. This was sort of 2:45 before we went out, and so I come to West Ham and saw Rob Jenkins, the physio, and I said, "Oh, we always do that," and he went, "I've got no whiskey," he says, "but I've got a bottle of." Now he used to get a bottle of brandy every week from the boardroom for medicinal purposes. It was just a load of cobblers because he used to drink it for himself. He used to take it home, so he used to get a brandy bottle every game. So I said, "Oh, that'll do. I'll just have a little shot of that." And so I did this for the first few games, and I can't remember if it was Jeff Pike or, but no, it was Bonzo. Bonzo came in.
Bonzo done it.
Bonzo came in, and he went, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just having a look." He went, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let me have it." So I had a drop, and then Jeff Pike started doing it, so he had a little shot. And so I was doing that. Oh, this ain't right. So that was 2:45. So 2:30. I thought, well, I'm going to. So I sneaked in and had another one, an earlier one. And then Bonzo came in and had one at 2:30. And I was having one at 2:15.
And I was looking at all these like having a drink, and I'm thinking,
What's going
I've got
on?
to play in front of him. I'm shitting myself.
Explain why you played with so much freedom then, boys.
That's what it is.
Gale
And
and
I think
Frank
we were going out to play one game with Stephen Walford, and he turned out to me and he went, "Come on, let's go." And I just went, "Yeah, man." And he went, "Oh my!" And he was a real panicker. Wally was a real panicker, and he went, "Oh God, he's pissed. He's pissed." Oh, I was only winding him up.
Well, by the end of the year, fellas, I mean, you were talking, Tony, about that fantastic run you're putting together, and I think you're just 4 points off the top by the end of the year. The crowds have virtually doubled. Did you get the sense that there was a momentum building, that this was something special?
Yeah, and Spurs broke that run, actually. We lost to Spurs at White Hart Lane. Stevie P scored the goal, a header, like Stevie Perriman with a header. And we'd actually played better than Spurs on the day, but we got done 1-0. And then it was, oh, bloody hell, we've got to get going again. And then we went on another one, and we went on another run, and we thought, but all the time we were on this run, Liverpool were matching it. And I think Liverpool's run at the end of the season was absolutely incredible. They must have won their last 7 games or something like that. And that was
I think they won 10 of the last 11 through the other one.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jeff. No, but I mean, it was a terrific run from what was an excellent Liverpool side and an excellent Everton side that eventually beat us on the last day to finish second. But we were in oh, no, it's easy to say now. It's all hindsight and all that. But we should have won it, and that is my biggest regret in football. That we didn't win that league that season.
It's funny because the last game we were at West Brom, we had to beat West Brom, And
The one but last game, yeah.
Was it one bit last week?
Everton
the
was
last-
the
Oh,
last.
Everton was the last
Well, it's the
game on
last game
Monday,
for me. The West Brom game was the last.
It was the last weekend, wasn't it?
It was the
Because
last
the
weekend,
Everton game was midweek.
on the last
following week.
Saturday, and it was a strange one. If Liverpool drew, then it meant Everton could win the league. And if they got beat, it meant Everton could win the league on a Monday. If they drew, Everton couldn't win the league. It was something strange like that. And we get told we won 2-1, and
you were still in with a chance of winning the league.
we were
at
still
this stage,
we were still on with a chance. If all Chelsea had to do was draw with Liverpool. If they drew with Liverpool, then there's no way we'd have got beaten the Monday.
No.
So of course we won our game at West Brom, came off, and we heard the shout that Liverpool got beat. Was it Liverpool?
No,
got
the
beat?
Liverpool. We heard it during the game.
Yeah, we heard
actually.
it during the game, and it was frightening for all the boys because we were on such a high because your confidence is there, and we'd have beat Everton on Monday.
I think it was 4-2 we beat West Brom that day, and like we played some good stuff as well.
Yeah.
Considering it was in a run-in and it was like the heat was on. Well, I remember watching some of the got the videos at home. Which I show my great grandchildren. But we played some great stuff on the day, and the crowd that we took to the Hawthorns that day, like we must have took over the Hawthorns, the West Ham fans.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And at one stage, like after about an hour, they're all jumping up and down on the terraces, and we're thinking,
We've done it.
God, we've done it. We're in front here,
happening,
And I
There was a rumour at
think
the
West
start.
Brom got back in the game, and all of a sudden it was like, we started shitting ourselves again, and we went up a gear, and we knocked them over 4-2, came off, thought, God, what's happened like that? But
Because you'd have been closest to the crowd, Phil. Were you hearing those rumours?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere there was a rumour that started that Chelsea had scored, and then towards the end of the game, all the fans were believing that Chelsea had actually beat Liverpool, where it was the other way around, and Dalglish had scored the goal. And I think John at half time said that, Chelsea are winning. So, I think he didn't know the truth, but he just did that to keep us on our toes and keep us going. Because I think if we'd have felt that Liverpool were going to win, because the thing, we were running on adrenaline in that time because we'd played so many games.
Yeah, we were out of it.
We had to catch up on. And we were playing Monday, we were playing Saturday, Tuesday. Certainly Saturday. One time we had Saturday,
Monday, Tuesday,
Monday.
Thursday, Saturday we played.
Monday. We had a Monday and a Thursday, and then it was crazy times. We weren't training. We were basically going. You never trained anyway. It really, and the last game was such an anticlimax that nobody wanted to go and play it. Because we just killed us, didn't it?
But you played in so many matches, but and I know you're saying you didn't train, but it wasn't stopping you in terms of results. I mean, there was an 8-1, wasn't there, against Newcastle? And Alvin Martin got a hat trick.
Alvin got a hat trick. Myself and Tony were scoring every week, and I think we were about 5 up or something, and neither myself or Tony had scored. No. And of course we were getting stick for Alvin and all that, and it was all the boys, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was like Glenn Roder was at the back. He was useless, but it was one of them.
He scored an own goal.
He scored an own goal. Yeah, it was good. And they end up. Alvin scored 3 against 3 different keepers.
3 different is a trivial question.
He's a trivia.
And one of them was little.
The last
Peter
one was
Beardsley,
against Peter Beardsley, and it was a penalty.
Yeah.
So Alvin got the, he obviously strode up.
He got a bollocking on John when he went back in the dressing room, because Ray Stewart, obviously the normal penalty taker.
Yeah.
And he's, why are you letting Alvin take it? You should have took it. You're the penalty taker.
He had won 8-1 and he got a bollocking.
Yeah, still got bollocking. Ray should have took the penalty, because if he'd have missed it.
See, the thing that comes out to me about this 86 team, if you like, Frank, is the overriding thing is the spirit. Not just, you've got some fantastic skillful players, but the spirit seems to be an incredible bond between you. There must have been some quiet boys. Who were the quiet ones in the squad?
I don't know.
Stevie Wolford was quite quiet.
Stevie,
Wally.
Alan
Wally used to. I used to smoke in the days, and used to, wherever we went, me and Wally used to go out for a fag. So Wally was all right. He was my mate.
Do you see yourself as a footballing role model here,
Yes,
Frank? You used to smoke, you used to drink, you used to go clubbing.
I know. I shouldn't have been a footballer, actually. It was just by luck. No, it was one of the situations. It was, you just have to do it. And Wally he's got such a dry sense of humour.
Yeah.
He was quiet, but when he came out with something, God, it was everyone knew about it and lauged about it for weeks.
He was a funny guy.
He was a funny guy.
He
wasn't that
quiet.
quiet.
He's coached to Martin O'Neill at Aston Villa and doing a great job, and him and John Robinson.
Yeah, they've been with him for years.
You could see he knew his football. Wally, he could play centre back, he could play left back, and he was an excellent foil for Alan Devonshire, who was just in front of him. Good player.
He would never look after Dev right enough. He'd go, oh, no,
that's right.
You know, he'd go, no, I don't want to do that tackling. But, yeah.
So, you know, we're at the last Saturday of the season. You've beaten West Brom. When did you first realise that actually Liverpool had won at Chelsea? Was it
pretty much straight after the game? John come and said, as we come in, and he said, well played, lads, really well done. He says, but bad news, I've got to tell you that Liverpool have actually won at Chelsea 1-0.
I've never seen so many grown men cry. Everyone just broke down.
And, you know, you've lost it. So
the whole season sort of a collapse then, didn't it? It was, and it was. I don't know. I know it's wrong, but I didn't want to play on Monday.
Well, I think
myself and Alvin were going to World Cup, and Alvin said he didn't want to play, and
this is to finish second as well against Everton.
Yeah. But you know,
going into that West Brom game, did you genuinely believe you could still win the title and make a bit of history?
I thought Chelsea would have got a draw at least.
That was a difficult game for Liverpool. Yeah.
I thought Chelsea would have got a draw.
But I remember getting to up the Goodison Park, and Howard Kendall was there to greet us when we all come in, and like congratulating us in the, you know, as we were going into our dressing room, like on a great season and all that. Whatever happened tonight, you know. Yeah. That doesn't really matter, you know. We pushed them all the way, and Howard Kendall was a proper fella, a real proper fella.
It was just all blood to me because Monday night was just, I just didn't want to be there. You know,
probably just got him on a Sunday. That's why.
Was it a normal Saturday? Normal Saturday night to you then?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Gary Links beat me by a couple of goals, and he scored.
Oh yeah, because you were after the golden boot.
I was good for the goal. I didn't even come into my head. It was just. You know, I really thought we were going to win the league.
I mean, it's interesting when you say, you know, tears in the dressing room after and the sunshine. But, you know, when you think back to what had happened pre-season at Leyton Orient that you were talking about earlier on, you know, really, you should have been patting yourselves on the back, shouldn't you, for the achievement of what you've done that season.
Yeah, and you kind of took it for granted as well, didn't you? You thought it'd probably happen the next season or whatever. But what I must say, though, Jeff, it was such fun in a running, you know what I mean? When there's pressure, I saw the pressure with Blackburn in a running as well, and it was different, but ours was fun. Yeah. We played a different style of football, and, you know, it really was like what the fans expected, I think, and they always expect it now. You know, the history of the club is such that, you know, they have to play good football. The fans want to see entertainment. And we entertained them that year. And we entertained ourselves more. That, you know, as you said, there was a great camaraderie between the lads. We used to go out regularly, didn't we? Fantastic nights out, all have a laugh, you know. And then I know John would give Frank a little bit of a licence, but that's what John was like. He knew how to get the best out of his players and to not pull him up soppy, you know, like you got to be in bed at 9 o'clock.
He done one thing with me, and it just sums John up. I was out just after his first Scotland game, and I didn't make it. I phoned up. You know, when you phone up, you want Rob Jenkins or something to answer the phone.
The physio,
say I'm not well or something. And it was John that answered the phone. So I put this voice on. Oh, John. He's going, what's the matter? I said, no, I'm not well. You don't sound too clever. I says, I'll just take a day off. No problem. He says, but you've got ITV and BBC cameras here for an interview. And I said, I forgot all about it. And I says, John, can you deal with it? He says, no problem, son, I'll deal with it. So I've got bodies lying all over my house. And anyway, I went back to bed. 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door, and Johnny sent the cameras up to the house. So you can imagine, I'm clearing the room and getting out of the room, and everyone's staggering into the bedroom. And I had to sit there and do 2 interviews. And kid on, I was just, and it was all in the headlines. I'm not going to make the World Cup squad and all that kind of stuff. I had too much drink the night before. That was it. But that was John. I thanked him for it. He says, well, you asked me to deal with it. So
Well, we should talk about John Lyle, shouldn't we, before we move on, really. Obviously, Phil, you spent a lot of time with him. He's always, you know, recalled as Gentleman John. What was he like? Did he have a tough side? Did he have an edge to him?
He had a very, very tough side to him, yeah. You didn't want to cross him, you didn't want to be on there. But he did it in a nice way. I'm always remember, if he, you know, like Sonny says, he wanted to get, if you got a bollocking off John, you'd go into the office and he'd sit you down and he'd start talking to you and he'd do this and he'd say this and blah, blah. And then he'd do it in a way, and then you'd come out of the office and you think, I've just had a bollocking. Yeah. But it was not like the Fergie, the hairdryer syndrome, where, you know, you come out there and thinking, God, what's, you know, shell shocked. He did it in such a nice way, but he still got his message across. Oh yeah. And I mean, to me, he was the best manager I've ever played with, and he was the reason that I did go to West Ham in the first place.
Well, he'd done everything at the club, hadn't he, as well over there? I think you've even read at one stage you'd been a wages clerk, you know. There.
He'd come from right at the bottom and he'd gone right to the top, and apparently was a decent player, a decent fullback himself. You know, but had to cut short his career through injury. But he knew the game inside out, but he had the perfect mentor in Ron Greenwood. And still today, Jeff, you know, like in the guys that I, you know, with the commentary roles and going to different training grounds, you see different training stints going on, and they've originated from Ron Greenwood and John Lyle. I mean, there's only a certain amount of things you can do in coaching, but these blokes were the originators of a lot of the coaching sessions that go on now. And it was never dull, Frank, was it?
No,
coaching
never
sessions,
dull, no.
never dull.
We know that swinging the ball in, you know, everyone takes corners and they give it the wrong way, and John had them swinging into goalkeeper, so if a defender got a knock on it, was a goal. I mean, it was so hard to defend against. And to buy me to play in behind the strikers, well, now it's a formation now, isn't it? But John done that years ago, and it was all, about 25 years ago John done that. He was so far ahead of his time.
If things had turned out differently and you'd actually won the title there, would that have been a life-changing season in a sense? Because I mean,
you know what?
Been, you know, superstars, wouldn't
you? Yeah, it's one of these situations. You know, who knows what would have happened? But we were definitely. I mean, I remember speaking to Kenny Douglas, and he was saying that we should have won the league. You know, we had a bad start, and that's what cost us the league, really. But football terms, I think we matched Liverpool in every department when it came to football. And I remember playing in Liverpool. My first game against Liverpool we drew 2-2, and I scored the 2. And it was like, and all the boys, I'm thinking we're winning. There's only a couple of minutes, but they just kept passing the ball like position what Liverpool's done for years and years, and they wear you down, don't they?
Yeah,
they wear you down, and they got the equaliser, and it was like.
But we didn't. The important thing is we didn't choke. We had a great run at the end of the season with a lot of games. Like Frank said, like Phil said, we lost it at the start, Jeff. Yeah. And a lot of people were pointing to the backlog of fixtures, but we got through that on adrenaline and we got our results and we didn't choke, which we could be all be proud of now. Yeah. But Liverpool, 10 out of 11 games, as you said, that's an incredible run, isn't it? And you have to hold your hands up. They were an incredible side.
They were a good team.
Yeah. What about the effect on the club? Because by now, Phil, I think by the end of the season, you're being watched by 30,000 instead of 15,000. Yeah. You know, was there a feeling at the club that this was a breakthrough and now you were going to go on from here?
We all felt that. We all really felt. We all actually come back at the start of the following season, in pre-season training, really looking forward to that next season. We thought that because we'd done well, the club had obviously got some money in from the crowds. The crowds, had, as you said, from the start, had doubled from the start of the season. It was tough times, but you know, people were finding it hard. The previous season we hadn't entertained the crowd at all, and they weren't happy. But at the end of it, we thought, well, yeah, John's going to go out. He's going to have money to spend. He's going to go out, and we think he'll go out and get 2 or 3 other players now, strengthen the squad, and then we can really have a go again. And it never happened, did he? I mean, he never bought the players that we thought that he might go out to get. And then the following season...
Was that down to him, do you think, or was that a board decision?
I think it probably more so, maybe a little bit of both, but certainly probably more so on the board side, because they were very cautious, weren't they? And wouldn't give him the money that really he deserved to spend on the side. And then I think if they'd have done that, then we could have carried on and built on that season. But basically it fell apart. We had a lot of injuries, like Tony said earlier, that started to cost us, and we never really fielded the same side twice. You know, I mean, there'd be only 2 or 3 changes, and you can never get a rhythm going, not like the previous season.
I mean, look at the staff teams have now. Yeah. We had John Lyle, Ronnie Boyce and Mick McGivern, 2 coaches. Yeah. John used to map out every coaching session every morning. They used to do it. And then John used to come out like every other day and be coaching as well. So there was him, 2 coaches and a physio. That was it. And the physio doubled up as the chef on the away journeys, serving up the food on the way back. The waiter. The waiter,
But the physio couldn't even see. I mean, Rob couldn't see. I remember, was it West Brom? Was it last game, West Brom, and Alvin got something in his eye, a bit of dirt in his eye. And John's going, and he's going, I can't see it. And John's talking to everyone. He says, Rob, get that dirt out of his eye. And Rob poked him in the other eye. And Alvin's going, can't see
it all now.
And John just finished the team talk and says, we were all laughing. And, you know, poor Rob.
I mean, you know, despite the fact you've had a wonderful season, you know, and you finished 3rd in the league, and you had a fantastic season. You know, you mentioned the World Cup earlier on, but Phil, you only managed 1 England cap. Does that ever rankle at all now?
Not really, no, because I think if I'd never have got that 1 cap, I've always said that, you know, it's something, you've got the 1 cap and they can't take that away from you. Whether I felt I deserved more, I look at the situation nowadays. we had, when I was playing, we had Ray Clements, Peter Shilton and Joe Corrigan and myself were the 4 big names in the keeper industry, if you like, then. And when I look at that then, you know, basically you got no complaints because they're all great goalkeepers together. And I think looking at it now, if we'd have all been spread out in different eras, then, you know, I could have gone on and got sort of 50 caps, or if I'd have been Scottish, I'd have got 200 caps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it never ever worries me that I never got more. But
they were no good to get those caps anyway. You could never get them over your bar.
No good. I would never have got the. I would have got more caps. I would have got the Cossack ad.
You get one of them with the cups.
You mentioned the injuries and the such like, and different players being brought in, and the team's beginning to fragment, isn't it now? Because you know, I think Tony Cotty's gone off to Everton in '88, and Alan Dickens has gone to Chelsea, and Frank, you've decided to go back to Scotland. Yeah. What was the thinking behind that?
I think John knew. No, I was not doing much. John knew that Celtic was my club from as long back as I could walk, and it was a centenary year for Celtic, and when they come in, and you know it's great playing with the Premiership. It's great down there, but you can go up there and make your name. It's me being a Celtic supporter, I could make my name in the sort of the greatest ever year if we do it right, and of course I went back and we won the double, so I made the right choice. I went up there and got my medals and you know, and cemented my place in Celtic's history. But then come back to West Ham and it just wasn't the same team. Wasn't the same club. You know,
West Ham eventually would be relegated again, and John Lyle sacked, I think, in 1989.
That was the biggest thing. I mean, he was West Ham for me.
Well, what was the mood when John Lyle was sacked?
Well, he was the reason that I came back. John Lyle was the reason I came back. I could have went to Arsenal, who were going to win the league that year. They won the league that year, and I came back for John. It was because he's just football. He was just way ahead of his time, and I love playing football for the guy. So,
in my opinion, the club's never been the same since John left.
Never.
You know, you lost something. You lost that bit of West Ham for me.
I think they lost a lot of respect as well, didn't they? The way they done it.
The obvious thing to do at the time was to put John upstairs if they wanted to get rid of him as manager, Jeff, and promote Bonzo from within to be the manager. That would have been the obvious thing, but we brought in Lou Macari, which didn't work for Lou or the club, and then Bonzo took over after that. But John was outed altogether, and John, with his his whole thing about he wouldn't have taken that director of football job after that once they left him as manager. He was just too proud a man.
I think
if it had been done right, he would have.
If
he was bringing Bonzo or Alvin or something through to manage a club, I think he would have done that.
It would have worked well.
Did it have a demoralising effect on the players?
Yeah, very much so. I think certainly the more senior players who'd been with him, and I'd been with him for 10 years.
You
were one of the senior.
I was one of the senior.
You still acted like a kid, but you were one of the senior players. But
30 going on 13.
But it really did have a big effect on us. And then obviously we were waiting to see who was going to take over. A lot of names were mentioned and managed, and then obviously Lou Macari comes along, who was totally the opposite to what John was. I mean, you couldn't get anyone more opposite to John than him, and it was just an eye opener to all of us. And you know, I think we just basically missed John so much for. I think he stabilised the whole thing, but the club couldn't let him go upstairs in many ways because he had so much power. He knew everything about the club as to what the wages, the structure, everything about it. He had a finger in all the pies, if you like, of how it run. And I think that was the big thing, that the board couldn't allow him to get in even more control.
They should have seen that as a real help.
They should have.
And to groom a young Billy Bonds at the time, who was coming to the end of his career, to groom Billy Bonds and be alongside him. Whether John would have accepted that, I'm not so sure. But that would have been absolutely perfect, Jeff, because he knew everything about football. Everything.
We talked about when Frank came back. I think I was telling you earlier about Frank back from Australia. I'd gone to John a couple of weeks before that, and I said, well, I'm so big friends with Jackie and Peter Alice, and they organised a golf tournament in Marbella, a big golf tournament, and all for charity. And it was flying out, and they were taking Concorde and everything else. And I said to John, you know, they'd really like me to go and play in it. And this is, you know, like this season, and the golf was on the Thursday. And he says, well, he said, you'll be back on the Friday? I said, yeah, back on the Friday. And he said, look, you've got permission to go. We went on the Tuesday, come back on the Friday. And this is in the middle of the season, and I just couldn't see a manager doing it now. And, you know, if I wasn't playing in the team, it wouldn't be a problem. But he just said, well, we'll tell the lads you're doing some charity work. He said, that's all they'll need to know. Don't say you're flying out to Spain on Concorde, you know, because I'll get it in the neck. And so I came back the Friday night. I left 12 o'clock at Heathrow, and Frank flew in the next morning, and we both went out and played, you know. But that was the kind of things that we did, but I think we just had such a great team spirit, and John could see that.
Another boys of 86 meet up regularly. Do you still play games together?
Some
well,
do.
Well, Frank, I have a bit of trouble. Me and Parksy getting in the shirt now and again, and we're not into all that shirt swapping afterwards, are we?
And is it still pure football, Frank?
Yeah, well, it's good. We can't do a lot of running right enough. We let the ball do the work now.
The ball run.
Everything's the feet, isn't it? Everything's
yeah.
the feet. But we have a thing at the end of the season on the West Ham pitch at corporate, and it is great fun. But we see each other loads, all of us, and we do remain friends to this day. And there's a core of about 7 or 8 of us, so we just see each other all the time. It's actually fed up with you.
You like the chance to take on that Liverpool side of 85, 86?
It would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah.
What now? We need a few Zimmer frames.
I was the old man of the side. Obviously, I mean, I'm 9 years older than Tony, and I think I was 36 at the time, and I think you were probably one of the next oldest, or I think
I was only 25, I think.
Well,
20,
so Alvin,
26,
I think Dev was the next one, which was, and he was about 29. So, you know, I was basically the old man of the side. So yeah, you'd have to rule me out of that. I could manage it. I'd take John's place.
He still collects the money now, Jeff.
They've always given me that job.
Well, it was a wonderful season, and Tony, Frank, Phil, really enjoyed sharing your memories. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are the days of our lives.
More sport, news and views at skysports.com.